During this year's Pokémon World Championship, one player's run was so memorable, it's sure to forever impress the pages of history. This biblical feat was achieved by the one and only Eric Luong. On day one of Worlds 2024, Eric achieved a record that was, let's say, uniquely impressive. 0 wins and 8 losses. Ladies and gentlemen, Worlds 2024 brought us a lot of little history, and as your VG Pokemon professor, I'm here to share it all with you. Now, it might sound like I'm poking fun at Eric, and, well, I am, but it's all in good spirit. Eric is not only a world-class player, but also a great sport about everything. And his run, believe it or not, is historically significant. To rack up a streak of losses like this, you need a cascade of bad luck that is almost as rare as perfect luck. Imagine playing 16 games without a single meaningful critical hit, no paralysis, no flinches, nothing. Nothing went in his favor. I mean, seriously, think about how many games you've lost because of bad luck, and then think about how insane it is for Eric to face 8 different opponents across 16 different games and never get awarded a single piece of favorable RNG. That's unheard of, and I now know for a fact that I've never battled him before. But that's not all. Typically, as the competition thins throughout the day, players at the very bottom might receive a bye, which is like an automatic win when there are an odd number of competitors left. So being at the bottom, Eric seemed a shoo-in for at least one bye. Yet, remarkably, he didn't get that either. Possibly due to others sharing his unique streak of losses, keeping him from even this small consolation. Eric achieved a historic first as being the player that achieved the losiest record ever recorded in the history of the Pokemon World Championship. Now, transitioning from an unexpected run to a flawless victory, we can't talk about the World Championship without mentioning Wolf Glick, and that's not because I want him in my thumbnail. No, Wolf achieved an unprecedented perfect record on day one, sweeping through 16 wins and no losses. Now that's legendary stuff, and you can bet it'll make a fantastic video on Wolf's channel. Maybe we should host a watch party or something. While we're on the topic of remarkable streaks, there was another standout performance at the Pokemon World Championship, this time courtesy of Japan. Their unbroken streak by the tournament's end makes an interesting spectacle. Since Shoma Hinomi's triumph in 2015, Japan has clinched the World Championship in every odd number year. 2015, 2017, 2019, and 2023, all won by Japanese players. Conversely, the even number years, 2016, 2018, 2022, have been championed from other parts of the globe. Now, I'm not somebody to preach about destiny, but it does seem like Lord Pikachu has a quirky sense of humor, especially seeing that Yuta and Luca faced off in the World Championship finals. And in a historic showdown, Japan maintained its streak. This is now the longest international trend in the history of the Pokemon World Championship. And interestingly, this also means that no country has managed back-to-back world titles since Ray Rizzo's consecutive victories from 2010 to 2012. That last bit was sort of on history, I guess. Now let's shift focus from what might be considered on history to Pokemon that have become icons at the Pokemon World Championship. And no, I'm not talking about Lord Pikachu here. He's practically in another universe when it comes to fame. I'm talking about these guys. Depending on your view of when the first Pokemon video game championship occurred, which I discuss in another video linked here, the fact that Amoonguss lost in the 2024 finals means that a tie remains for the Pokemon with the most World Championship titles. Incineroar, Salamence, Cresselia, and Thundurus join Amoonguss, each as holding 3 titles apiece. This Little Mushroom's loss is interesting for some of us, and heartbreaking for some of us as well. Even more intriguing, this year marked the first time Incineroar was legal for competitive play and didn't win the World Championship. And now for the highlight. The most electrifying piece of Pokemon history from this year's World Championship involves a very special electric-type Pokemon, Iron Hands. Okay, So just a quick story. Way back in Regulation B, when Paradox Pokemon first hit the competitive scene, some of you might be shocked to find out that Iron Hands was like not immediately popular. I think this is largely because of Fluttermane. Many people thought that Iron Hands had a really poor matchup into Fluttermane, and with Fluttermane's popularity just booming, Iron Hands was considered by many players, and I mean like even really good players, to be pretty middling. Now, I don't ever argue with people on the internet, it's just like not my thing, but I took the bait hard back in February of 2023. I just could not believe what people were saying about this Pokemon. It's a mid-tier attacker. It can never survive in a meta with fairy Pokemon, blah, 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 blah. People were like just bashing my boy Iron Hands, and I'm just sitting here like, now, fast forward to Luca's victory at the 2024 World Championship, and Iron Hands clinched its second title in as many world appearances. That's right, making it the most successful Paradox Pokemon in terms of world championships. Oh yeah. Now, that was a pretty cool factoid, but this next historical tidbit has some major implications for the 2025 World Championship in Anaheim, California. But before I dive into what I think is the most exciting implication stemming from this year's World Championship, I just want to thank you all for watching. This video's format is like a new venture for me, but being in Hawaii and surrounded by all of this Pokemon history, I just came across so many fascinating stories that I wanted to share with you. In fact, a lot of the footage that you're seeing right now throughout this video was taken by me while I was there in preparation of sharing my experience with those of you watching. And so if you've enjoyed this journey, please consider supporting the channel by subscribing, and you won't miss out on all the amazing historical, competitive, fantastical content I have planned for this year. Mahalo. Now, if you take a look at the list of Pokemon World Champions going back to 2010, both Ray Rizzo and Wolf Glick have secured championship titles for the United States, tallying up to 4 wins in the Masters division. Japan also boasts 4 titles. And now, with Luca's stellar performance in the Hawaiian roller coaster ride, Europe has clinched its 4th Pokemon World Championship title. This sets up a thrilling scenario for 2025. Because whichever country wins will break a 3-way tie amongst the most dominant regions in competitive Pokemon, making it a historic showdown not to be missed. This prospect is absolutely mind-boggling, and I'm already excited for next year's finals, even though we haven't even kicked off our first regional tournament of the season. This here is the most important part of the entire video. I've mentioned it before, but it bears repeating. The player who claims victory at the Pokemon World Tournament stands as the very best, if only for that day in that precise moment. So now it's time to extend a well-deserved congratulations to Luca Ceribelli. Take your victory lap, Luca. You've achieved a dream that thousands of players pursue year after year. And no matter what the future holds, whatever wins or losses may come, your name is now etched in Pokemon history forever.
Pokemon, catch out, me so true. I know it's a flawless through. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch them all, gotta catch them all.
Thanks for watching.
Pika pika.
Fire the audio engineer.